All right, we about to jump into it, ladies and gentlemen. 15 reasons why I hate Marvel Rivals players. Let's get into it. Let's see what they have to say.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the videos where I tell you not what you want to hear but what
Let me know
you
how the
need
volume
to
is.
hear. I already did one of these videos with support players because we all know support is by far the easiest role and therefore it makes a lot of support players
Wait, 10 reasons why I despise support players in Marvel Rivals. Oh, I bet that has a spicy comment section. Spicy.
boosted. However, obviously there's dumb ducks in every role who make mistakes that make you wonder if these players have cognitive thinking skills. Other than the butthurt boosted support players crying in the comment section, you had tank and DPS players being like, I'm so tired of these trash support players. They're the reason I'm heart stuck. So obviously I need to make a video humbling them and reminding them how shit they are too. Before we get into the video, let me tell you guys about today's sponsor, and remember that sponsor.
I definitely can agree with him on that first part about supports getting trashed on a lot or whatnot. I do see that a lot on social media over all the other roles. I definitely agree with him on that.
Video humbling them and reminding them how shit they are too. Before
Support
we get
players
into the
have
video,
egos.
let me tell you guys about today's sponsor, and remember that sponsors help out the channel and allow me to continue outputting content that has copyrighted material. Obviously, when I use copyrighted material,
watch it just to
the
support
viewer
them.
experience, I don't make any money off the video. Today's sponsor is Winzo Games, an amazing gaming app that I recently fell in love with. It's an app with 20 plus
Honestly,
games where you
I think
face
I've been
real
flamed
players
more
and
by
earn
support
real
players than any other
moolah,
role.
that real cha-ching, and we definitely all need it with the skins Marvel Rivals has been releasing. Once you're done conquering and racking up the Benjamins and stealing little Timmy's lunch money, you can instantly withdraw your earnings via
Poor little
PayPal.
Timmy.
It's a fast and easy process. Now, betting your own money is a real hassle, let's be real. But with this app, you don't even have to use your own money because Winzo Games allows you to refer your friends and earn $2 for every successful referral. I've already made a quick dollar off Candy Match because I'm amazing at everything I do. So test your skills today by
Support
clicking
players
the
are
top
filled
link
with
in my
rage.
description and downloading Winzo Games today. There's two things we all love in this world, and that's gaming and money. Well, Winzo Games is the best of both worlds, like Hannah Montana. So get started.
Dumb tank,
today.
hey.
Number one, I like my last video, this list isn't in any order, but if it was, this would be number one because it happens so often. And
All right,
that's
hold on, wait.
teams that don't
Lock in, chat. Lock in. I thought he was gonna go from 15 to 1, but he's starting at number 1 first. So lock in, chat. Lock in.
I like my last video, this list isn't in any order, but if it was, this would be number one because it happens so often. And that's teams that don't kite support ults. Now, if you don't know what kite means, it means to back up, which is what you should be doing when you see a support ult. What exactly is the thought process of
I'm gonna just tell you flat out, if I was to make a top 15 list, number 1 would not be teams that do not kite ultimates. I'm just saying. It is annoying. I deal with it all the time, and I'm sure all you guys do too. But that's not my number 1 annoyance with Marvel Rivals players. I'm just saying. But go on.
continuing to fight an invincible team? You think God is going to grant you a miracle and allow you to somehow kill through it? When you hear alt voice lines, it should be common sense to back up. Yeah, somehow I get tank and DPS players who for some reason think it's a good idea to continue fighting and playing aggressive. It makes no fucking sense. Number two, now it didn't take long for me to go back to shitting on support players, but this one is one I see often, and I didn't include it in my last video, and it's supports who ult just because the enemy supports ulted. Now, I gotta break it down so even a fucking monkey can understand what I'm saying. So
there are some instances where you should mirror, but I definitely get what he's saying. It's not all the time though, for sure. For sure.
These brain dead support players understand me because that's what I had to do in my last video. I tell them what's good and bad. Very simple. Maybe they will understand me if I talk like this. Now, yes, it can be good to mirror support ults, but I'm talking about the supports that don't take time to assess the situation and just ult when they hear the enemy's voice lines. Like your whole team is full health, we're all backing up, yet for some reason you instantly pop your support ult. You should wait and see, is my team critical or is my team going to be brain dead and fight them when they have a support ult up? It pisses me off that this shit happens in Celestial. If you're going to mirror support ults, please wait as long as you can so yours will outlast theirs, not popping it 1 millisecond after they do. Number three, ooh, I'm not gonna hold back on this one. We got players who ego because of their peak. Let me say this loud and
absolutely. Hero shooters, right?
Number 3, ooh, I'm not going to hold back on this one. We got players who ego because of their peak. Let me say this loud and clear for those of you who think high ranks is a rank full of amazing players. It's fucking not. It's full of brain dead, neuro impaired, 30 IQ amphibians. Now, before I move forward, let me start by saying this. This is not for the people who don't have.
To add to this, I've said this before to a couple of people, and I will say it now. I would probably say, well, I'm not going to give a percentage, but a lot of players in these higher elos, I 100% will stand on the hill and say that they are, without a doubt, boosted. Absolutely. So I definitely resonate with what he's saying here, because a lot of these players in these higher elos are just absolutely boosted. And it's not even, I mean, it's so obvious. The misplays, the positioning, the lack of composition knowledge, the lack of awareness, all these things. Absolutely. 100% agree with them. 100%.
Have an ego. You know, if you're happy you reach gold or plat or diamond, then you know what? Hell yeah. You know, round of applause to you. Give yourself a round of applause, a little pat on the back. Don't let what I'm about to say bring you down. This is for the people who peak Celestial or get GM and think they're hot shit. Don't even get me started on people who flex Grandmaster. I'm not even gonna acknowledge you guys. I'm going straight to Celestial because it is a crime how some of you even got to that rank. Celestial is
absolutely facts.
Terrible players. I promise you, as someone with
facts.
4 Celestial accounts, soon to be
facts.
4 Eternity accounts, Celestial is not a rank to flex. Don't believe me and think I'm talking out of my ass? Go to the top 500 leaderboard and watch the Celestial games. It's sad.
What was that? What was that right there? He put a little zest in that sentence. You guys hear that? What was that?
Celestial is not a rank to flex. Don't believe me and think I'm talking out of my ass? Go to the top 500 leaderboard and watch the Celestial games. It's sad. To me, Diamond, GM, and low Celestial is all the fucking same. A low Celestial player is no different than a Diamond player, I promise you. So let's stop it. Let's stop getting egos over hitting these ranks.
Granted, I'm GM2 right now, so I haven't peaked Celestial yet, but I definitely, at least from my experience, all my Diamond games and all my GM games so far, yeah, I mean, it's all been exactly the same. I definitely agree with him. At least, like I said, I haven't peaked Celestial yet, but it all feels the same so far.
I can sit here and again flex my soon-to-be 4 Eternity accounts, but rank doesn't mean shit. I let my gameplay do the talking. You know, go watch my Twitch streams and watch my gameplay. But I had to say this because so many players think they're hot shit for reaching Celestial with like a 50% win rate. And also, this will help a lot of you low ranks out too, because maybe you get nervous and think that every player in these ranks are amazing. I promise you, hand on the Bible, they're not. So don't get performance anxiety when you get up to these ranks. Number 4 is sort of a rendition of number 2, but instead of support players, it's tank and DPS players ulting into defensive modes. Like, hey buddy, you just blowing from stupid town? Nah, let's not be smart asses here. Obviously, there's some exceptions like Mag or like a DPS with Raccoon Amplifier that can kill through the defensive ults. But most of the time, that ain't happening. And I have these DPS and tanks wasting their ult because they're
the main character.
Defensive
Hell
I don't
no.
know, man. Like, I wish I can get into the minds of these players and figure out what the fuck their thought process is when they ult into a team that's invincible. Number 5, we have DPS players that don't swap off DPS after they shit the bed. The players that do
cook. Realer words cannot be said. This would have been probably in my top 3 DPS players who instantly pick a DPS hero in that category and just are absolute turbo buns. Absolutely, brother is cooking over here. There's so many of these players in the Rivals community. It is mind-blowing. Terrible.
This really,
I mean, they are coming in by the truckloads, man. There's so many of these DPS players. It is wild to me.
Don't care, and it makes my blood boil. They insta-log DPS.
Absolutely, brother.
Negative,
absolutely.
And then they still want to play DPS in the second round. Like,
absolutely. Not only do they want to continue to play DPS, they will double down on it, and they're going to say, I'm not getting healed. My tank's not making space. My tank is negative KD. My support is whatever, insert excuse. It is like, I can't even process it. It's just the levels of cope that I see mainly with DPS players in this game is is unreal. It needs to be studied. It truly needs to be studied. Absolutely, brother. Preach. Preach, brother. Preach.
like something's gonna fucking change. No, the
Right.
fact
Louder
that
for
your
the
shit
deaf
is
DPS
not
players
gonna
in the
change,
back.
please.
Absolutely. Shout it so all the DPS players around the world can hear it. Some of y'all are straight trash, and DPS is not your role. You can be mad all you want, but you can't say that I'm wrong, because I'm not.
Stop, but they're not gonna stop because they don't care, and they're the type to be like, "Ugh, it's just a
Yep.
game, bro. Like, oh, why are you so mad? Take a chill pill." Number
Yep.
6, we
Facts.
have the
Facts.
opposite. We have insta-log DPS players
Right, the raccoon, right?
who shit the bed in the first round, and then to save themselves from getting flamed or taking accountability, they swap to tank or support. It fucking infuriates me. And I know I'm contradicting myself because I'm mad if they switch and then mad if they don't switch. Yes, I'm
Yeah,
mad
I was
at your
gonna say
fucking
you're
shit in general.
contradicting
You should
yourself
have
a little
known that
bit.
your shit and like load into the game and auto lock Rocket Raccoon or some shit. A character that requires.
Now, don't get me wrong. I want to add to what he's saying. I don't necessarily agree with getting upset that they switch off, because if they're not doing great on DPS, for example, since we're talking about DPS, we'll stay with DPS, right? So I'm not going to necessarily get mad that they swap off DPS. I would want them to do it sooner, not later, not at the end of the round when we're swapping sides, right? Or whatever it is, a lot sooner. But at the same time, this rarely ever happens.
Zero fucking everything. I had this game on stream where I had like 3 or 4 insta-log DPS, and I'm talking these dudes were like salivating
Happens all the
out the
time.
mouth to log DPS, and I'm forced to be a solo tank, and we get rolled in the first round. Then the second round, they all get off DPS, and I go DPS and lay the good old Brooklyn beat down on the enemy team. I lay the smackdown on their candy asses. And that's sad, is that I'm a support main, so how are you auto-locking DPS? And some of them were lords, I'm pretty sure.
Wait, did he say he's a support main? All I've seen is Iron Fist video footage. He said he's a support main?
We get rolled in the first round. Then the second round, they all get off DPS, and I go DPS and lay the good old Brooklyn beat down on the enemy team. I lay the smackdown on their candy asses. And that's sad, is that I'm a support main, so how are you auto-locking DPS? And some of them were lords, I'm pretty sure, and shit the bed and then swap to tank and support to...
Listen, just to clarify something here, just because they're Lord does not equal them being good at the hero. Let's just clarify that. That just means they've spent enough time on the hero to have the icon. That does not mean that they're good at the hero whatsoever. Exactly. Lords don't mean poo-poo. Exactly. Words couldn't have been said truer by our friendly neighborhood Toka here. Lord does not mean anything. You just have a pretty little icon that says you've played the hero long enough. So let's just make sure that we understand that Lord does not equal skill, does not equal performance. It does not equal whatever, a carry, whatever. Just means you've played a lot of quick play probably for the hero. Or in my instance, I'm getting ready to unlock Lord on Mag because Hulk is always banned in my games, so I've just had to play Mag. So
the enemy team.
But even then, I don't walk around saying like, yeah, my Mag's amazing because I'm about to have Lord on Mag. Just I've been forced to play Mag because Hulk's always banned.
I lay the smackdown on their candy asses. And that's sad, is that I'm a support main, so how are you auto-locking DPS?
Exactly. Lord
some
means
of them were
spend 20 hours learning
sure, and shit
absolutely.
the bed and then swap to tank and support to hide your shitty performance. And funny enough, my teammates in that game recognize me. So if you're watching this, don't ever lock DPS again. Number 7, this is the pretty popular one right now, and that's players who lock in new characters in comp. Like, hello, are you a part of some fucking SR terrorist organization? The does this look like? You think you can get into my comp games and auto-lock characters when you don't even know what their abilities do just because they're new? Yo, hold up, that rhymed. Get your in the practice range and quick play and learn the character first before you play them in comp. Number 8.
I feel this is a very interesting discussion. This may be something to talk about in another video, but I definitely see where he's coming from with the new heroes. The day after Thing and Torch came out, I was not able to play because of work, so I watched a streamer. Now I'm not going to name the streamer, right? Because I don't want to cause drama or anything like that, right? But the streamer was playing comp and they were insta locking the new heroes. It was either Torch or it was Thing, right? And someone in their chat asked them about it in terms of why were they, picking the new heroes, and they said that they don't want to play quick play with the new heroes because quick play is easy, it's not a challenge, and they want to be in an environment that's going to be more challenging and actually test out the limits of the actual character. So I definitely see what he's saying and I agree with him. I don't necessarily know how I feel about the other comment that was made with this streamer or whatnot. Like I said, it's probably something for another video. But I absolutely believe that there are people like this that are absolutely picking these new heroes, running it down, getting blasted, and then, it's just the game, bro. It's like, no, you're making it unbearably awful for all of us. So I think I would have to agree. If it's a new hero, go to QP. I don't know if practice with AI would be a good thing, but QP at the very least. Run some QP first before anything, brother.
We got Doctor Strange players who TP directly on point. You know what that is when you TP directly on point? That's Erwin leading his men to their death against the Beast Titan. That's what that is. You're gonna force our
Not
supports
necessarily
to play on point and drop in the middle of the battle. Only way this is acceptable is if we're up numbers or it's overtime. Other than that, if you TP directly on the point, you need to have something done to your account that doesn't let you rank past gold. Number 9.
That's not necessarily the case every time. I would feel I've seen some good TPs directly above point where you have like a Punisher or like a Hela and they have perfect view of the entire objective. Makes for a really good angle for them. So, I mean, granted, is that all the time? No, but I would say a majority of the time he's probably right with that statement, but I don't think that's like the 100% personally.
Staying on the topic of Doctor Strange and his TP, we got teams who all take the damn TP. Now listen closely, please. Everybody taking the TP is a noob move. Maybe this shit would work in the beginning of the game, but for example, the map with all the, the venom come all over it, once the team on defense hears that there's a TP, they know exactly where the fuck you guys are, loading up into one little space on high ground. Why not just fucking walk main at that point? It's gonna be the same shit. Send a DPS or tank and one support main, and then the rest of you can fucking TP behind them. But if you all take the TP and don't create a second angle, the team on defense.
Shut up, Venus. I just see a thing and realize I was doing that. I would say he probably has unrealistic expectations here. I feel once you get to a certain elo, that's probably a more realistic expectation. But I probably would say that's probably in like eternity and above, maybe. I can see the strategic advantage of doing something like what he's saying here, but I think it's an unrealistic expectation. If you don't queue with the 6-stack, you should just not ever expect this. Personally, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Defense is just going to sit pretty on point with not a care in the damn world. Meanwhile, your team is clumped up on high ground, so stop doing that shit, please. Create angles. Number 10, we got Raccoon players that die more than 3 times a game. If you are a Raccoon player and die more than 3 times a game, get yourself a fucking Chuck E. Cheese application.
Listen, he said the quiet part out loud. You heard what he said. Let's rewind it so we can hear it again, because I say this all the time. Bunch of people in Discord say this all the time. Say it one more time, brother. One more time.
Number 10, we got Raccoon players that die more than 3 times.
3 times. 3. Raccoon has crazy mobility, crazy sustain. He can heal himself. He can run up walls. He can run along walls. I mean, the man's got mobility coming out of the wazoo. Anytime I see, I think I would agree, 3 is a good metric. Anytime I see a Raccoon over 3 deaths, pack it up. GG, go next. GG. It's a wrap.
The game. If you are a Raccoon player and die,
swap it up. This game probably ain't for you. Because if you can die on that hero with that amount of mobility and sustain and utility, I don't know what to tell you. don't know what to tell you.
More than 3 times a game. Get yourself a fucking Chuck E. Cheese application. Learn how to flip burgers. D-rank your account to silver. Raccoon is already one of the most useless supports, if not played in triple support meta. He's even more useless when you can't
I don't know if I would say he's useless in triple support, personally.
stay alive.
I could see him having the most utility in a triple support as long as he's got 2 supports that complement what the team's trying to accomplish.
That's like literally his biggest plus side to Raccoon is his survivability.
Because he's got crazy damage,
rocket boost,
crazy sustain, heals over time, the respawner, his damage amplifier is crazy.
On top of all that, you're the size of my penis. Wow, it's hard. Don't give me that, oh, they're running BP, they're on Magic, they're on Spider-Man. No, sweetie. Your character has the best survivability in the game, alongside being like top 5 and not needing any skill to play. So let's just report any Rocket Raccoon player that dies more than 5 times a game, please. Number 11, we have people who target ban, bro. Target banning has to be the most cringe thing I've ever seen. Like, not only are we wasting a ban, but we're like upping the ego of the shit player we are target banning. Like, I promise you, no player Celestial and below deserves to be target banned. It really shows how terrible you are if you're on support and you're like, oh, let's ban BP because they have a BP player. Bro, if you're dying to Black Panther, you are just terrible. And look,
this guy is on some mushrooms 100%. Look, you said it, not me. I don't know. I mean, the bans, there's a new layer of strategic involvement with banning certain, whatnots. Certain heroes are really good on certain maps, certain comps. You can completely negate it with a target ban and whatnot. If there happens to be a player that plays the hero, then so be it or whatnot. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I might have to disagree with you on that one, buddy. Granted, I don't really play Hulk anymore because he's just banned all the time now. But when I was trying to force Hulk back at the beginning of season 1, back when I was, actually good at the hero, it happened on occasion where I would get target banned, and it's just another layer of element to the game. Like, it's just in the game, so at the end of the day, when you queue in the comp, you want to win the game, right? So why would you not do something to increase your odds of winning the game to 100%? So target banning is 100% needed sometimes. Yeah, agreed, for sure. 100%. 100%. It's just another layer to add to the strategy and whatnot. And also, like you're mentioning about the one trick players, like I mentioned earlier, if you one trick a hero and that's all you play and whatnot, that's your own fault. You are going into ranked at a disadvantage, and you are putting your entire team at a disadvantage as well. So if you get target banned because of that, I hope you learned your lesson. Play more heroes.
Look at it this way. You banned Black Panther, one of the worst characters in the game. Black Panther.
I'm sorry, what? Hold on. Run that by me one more time. Hold on. Run that by me one more time. Hold on.
Get banned. It really shows how terrible you are if you're on support and you're like, oh, let's ban BP because they have a BP player. Bro, if you're dying to Black Panther, you are just terrible. And look at it this way.
I'm sorry, what? Hold on. Go back.
The shit
one more time.
Like, I promise you, no player Celestial and below deserves to be target banned. It really shows how terrible you are if you're on support and you're like, oh, let's ban BP because they have a BP player. Bro, if you're dying to Black Panther, you are just terrible. And look at it this way. You ban Black.
Now that's wild to hear. I don't think this man has seen some of the crazy combos that you can pull off with a BP. I'm not going to say that every Black Panther you encounter is going to be cracked and is going to know all the combos and know all the cooldowns and know all the angles to play and know who to dive, when to get in, when to get out. Everything, right? I think you could probably put BP players in the same category as Spider-Man, where a majority of them are just going to be lukewarm, mediocre, average, right? Some of them might be okay, whatever. But the ones that have dedicated their blood, sweat, and tears to the hero and has learned every little detail and intricacy and anything, every angle, every point of I mean, literally anything. These players are absolutely game-winning players, and you need to realize that and go at that accordingly. So if you're going against someone like last night, I was doing some solo queue, right? And my very last game, I had a BP on my team that was absolutely cracked. I mean, granted, I was playing Magneto, so I was bubbling him a lot, and whatnot. Um, Even if I wasn't doing that, I could just tell from the combos he was doing, the limbs he was putting on the kill feed, and all that stuff. He didn't need my bubbles. The bubbles were just there to make him even scarier, even better, right? But you better believe after that game, because that was my last game of the night. You better believe if I had queued again and I would have seen him on the opposite team on the following game, oh, I would have 100% said ban Black Panther because this dude was cracked. I mean, this guy was crazy on BP, you know, and those are the players that you should be 100% target banning. I'm not going to say he was like a one trick or anything, but I mean, the guy was just cracked on BP, and he was a major factor on why we won that game, you know? And so, yeah, you better believe that I'm going to target ban him, cringe or not, because at the end of the day, like I said earlier, you don't queue into ranked to lose. 99% of people queue into ranked to win. So, yeah. So, I'm going to have to hard disagree on this one. I mean, you can call it cringe, you can call it whatever you want. At the end of the day, it's something that's in the game. A lot of people are going to do it. It is a form of strategy. It is a form of, you know, putting the odds in your favor to win. You already have so much against you with the matchmaker. So, you know, why do yourself a disservice and take it a step further by not target banning, especially if you've played with someone and you know that they're cracked, or you've played against someone before and you've lost to them because they're crazy on a certain hero. Hey, so guess we'll just have to hard disagree on this one, chat.
Panther, one of the worst characters in the game. Black Panther or Wolverine on the board because one of my fucking shit teammates decides to target ban the enemy team just for them to still get cooked throughout the game, because it's not the enemy player that's good, it's just that you're fucking terrible and don't know how to position and don't know how to play the game. So yeah, stop target banning, bro. Just fucking ban the broken characters. Like, it's much more useful to ban Namor if you're running flankers, or ban Storm, or ban Wolverine for your tanks, or ban Cloak and Dagger for your DPS. Speaking of flankers, number 12, we have flankers who don't ban Neymar. If you're Lord, Spider-Man, BP, Iron Fist, or Magic, why aren't you banning that brain dead character? If I see a Lord flanker on my team, I'm voting to ban Neymar, because I know how it is to play against him as a flanker. He is so fucking brain dead. I'm sick of having people who play flankers don't ban Neymar and then get shut down when the enemy brings him out. Number 13, we have Lords who shit the bed. I don't get what the thought process is when, you know, people think.
Once again, chat, we said this earlier, and we will say it again. Just because you have the Lord icon does not mean you are good at the hero. Say it slowly so it sinks in.
Since they're Lord, they're gonna be good. Time does not equate to skill. Remember Overwatch,
Exactly.
You had gold portraits stuck in bronze and gold. With that said, it's still fucking annoying when a Lord shits the bed on my team. You put all that.
I mean, yeah, you had those portraits in the lower elos, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. That could be people who just don't ever want to play ranked in Overwatch. Because I mean, let's be honest, Overwatch ranked is you are literally signing yourself up for physical pain. So players who choose to play the game for the most part outside of the ranked mode and then occasionally dabble in and out, yeah, I just don't think you can make that comparison personally.
That time into that character just to fucking suck ass. You should have a shit stain icon on your player card when you go negative as Lord. You know how Lord players have, you know, a different icon? When you shit the bed as a Lord character, you need to have like a little poop icon on your calling card to show how fucking terrible you truly are. Number 14, we got tanks who die a lot. Listen, supports and tanks, y'all are in the same boat. You guys should not be dying so much. Supports, because you have so many abilities to help you survive and you're the back.
hard disagree here. Tanks and supports are not in the same boat at all. Two completely different realms, two completely different objectives, two different ways of going about the match. Totally different.
Of the team, and tanks because you have like 1,000 health and you're the front line of the team. Only exception is if they have a Wolverine, because that shit's cancer. Other than that, stop feeding on tank, you fat fuck. You're our front line, and when you die, the rest of our team falls. And lastly, number 15.
That's kind of an L take, unfortunately. It's really hard. Me being a tank player, I can speak on this. It's really hard for you to actually occupy space, take it, be aggressive, hold W, whatever you want to, say. It's really, really hard to do your job when you have DPS that are not performing. Or in the instance where you have supports that don't understand their kits and understand what they need to do in order to enable you to do your job or the DPS to do their job. So it's really hard for you as the tank to do your job when you have things like that that are holding you back on your team. Unfortunately, in Rivals, tank is a strong element to the team, but it is not normally, in like most instances, probably like 98% of games, it's probably not going to be the winning factor of why you won a team, like a team fight in a ranked game. We're not talking about, like pro scene or whatever. We're talking about just like in ranked, unfortunately, that role goes to normally the DPS players in terms of, damage equates to, elims, it equates to value, whatever it is and whatnot. But I'm not going to say that tank players don't feed, because I do watch some games in lower elo, and there's definitely feeders on tank. I'm not going to discredit that. Not going to discredit that at all. But what I said earlier still applies. It's very hard to do your job as tank when you have those things working against you. So I'm going to have to disagree on that one. Two separate roles, two separate different objectives, ways of going about the match, XYZ. So yeah. But I agree. Stop feeding. Stop feeding. I agree.
That shit's cancer. Other than that, stop feeding on tank, you fat fuck. You're our front line, and when you die, the rest of our team falls. And lastly, number 15, we have tanks who hide their shitty KD behind them playing tank. Listen closely when I tell you this. It isn't only the DPS's job to get kills, especially a character like Strange. Are you fucking kidding me, bro? Every time I play Strange, I have the highest kills in the lobby. As a tank, you should be competing with your DPS on kills. Can't believe there's tank players out there who cry about their DPS not getting picks when they have less, if not the same amount of kills as their DPS. But yeah, I haven't been uploading because I haven't been getting content.
That's a very situational argument. So yeah, I mean, of course, everyone should be trying to get elims, but the DPS primary objective is to get elims. Your primary objective as a tank is to take space and occupy space to set up your team, especially your DPS, to get the kills. So yeah, I mean, that's a very yeah, you can have that argument in some situations, but that's not always the case.
A player like me doesn't really get toxicity that often. People don't blame me when I give them nothing to blame. So like, I promise I'm trying to get you guys that toxic video. I would just upload it next week, 100%, whatever I have. It might not be, what I want, but I'm tired of, putting it off. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you got pissed off, then most likely these apply to you and your fucking dog shit. So don't ever talk to me again. Peace, hair grease, and deuces.
Well, oh, his icon, isn't that an old Xbox icon? Like back in the 360 days? Maybe. Yeah. What do you guys think, chat? What do you guys think? Side note, brother, you got some notifications in all these categories. I'm gonna need you to click on them, and I'm gonna need you to clear those out. Thank you. Anyway, yeah, I mean, it was surely a list, right? I mean, I don't think that is the list I would have, but obviously it's not my list. So the number one was one second. Number one was not kiting ultimates, which I said earlier that would have not been my number one. That wouldn't have been close to my number one. Probably my number one annoyance with Marvel Rivals right now, honestly, is the fact that there are so many players that are throwing games because they will only play the one hero regardless, like regardless of whatever it is, whatever the map is, whatever your team comp is, whatever the enemy team comp is. I mean, it does not matter. There's been a lot of instances where these players, at least in my experience, they get diffed, they get, you know, they get their ass handed to them, and then, you know, they don't swap, they don't try to work with the team, they don't nothing. It's just in most of those instances, I have lost the game. That would probably be my number one. Obviously, that's based off of my experience, though. But I mean, there are definitely a lot of good points in this list for sure. For sure, there's a lot of good points in this list, but there's definitely a couple things that I would have taken off and put in different places, and I would have had other things in this list. Like me personally, uh, this game is incredibly toxic compared to like Overwatch, for example. I've already mentioned that to a couple people. I'm making a video on that right now. Um, Rivals has surpassed Overwatch in terms of toxicity in game. It's just crazy how toxic this game has become. Another thing that annoys me is about the lack of information that the players have in this game. A lot of players either watch a YouTuber or they just assume something about whatever it is, damage equals value, large healing numbers equal, best healer. There's all these little things and whatnot, and there's so much more to the game than just the stats. A lot of them are just kind of pointless, and that really annoys me about the game. The one tricks in the game annoy me. The performance in the game annoys me, which I guess that doesn't have to deal with the players, right? So, but I would have definitely had some things taken out, and I would have put something else instead for me personally. So